G'day everyone, and welcome to this weekly Camera Ready Confessions, a weekly live stream bridging personal branding and video marketing so you can shine as the obvious choice. Welcome to the live stream with your host Zoë Wood, the video confidence coach. Make sure that you can watch or listen to this live stream on all platforms, see in the link below. Make sure to comment your questions, your thoughts, your ideas, or any camera ready confessions you may have throughout today's live stream or after using hashtag #ReplaySquad, and I'll make sure to answer your questions during the live stream or usually after in the comments, because I don't see them during the live stream because we comment after during the replay squad stuff. And also make sure, if you want to find out any more information about these live streams, the podcasts, and anything that we are offering at Video Confidence Coach, you can check out on our website, vcc.training. That is vcc.training. That's the whole URL. No .com, no .au. I've had a couple of questions about that lately. It's the .com is .training because it's the domain I have, and that's where everything points to. Yeah. Before I continue, I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I'll start that again. I would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians of the land on which I record my business, record my podcast, and conduct my business today. I pay my respects to elders past and present. I stand with the traditional custodians of these lands in working towards a more equal future. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people continue to face discrimination and disadvantage due to our country's colonial past. I stand with them in their fight against injustice. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. And I appreciate any elders watching. I apologize, slip of the tongue, doesn't happen often. Today is the day that, of course, we're tripping over ourselves, very much like the government when it comes to closing the gaps. But that is me getting too political again. It's not political, it's people's lives, but I digress. I have many things to say about that, and the way that the Australian government treats Indigenous people is one of them. But let's continue with the focus of today's live stream. So, as you can imagine, today is talking about how do I stop sounding scripted? This is a question I get a lot when it comes to not just personal branding, but also just video marketing in general. And what I will touch on today is we've got a couple of community questions. These are quick fire questions that I'm going to do my best to get simple, straightforward, non-waffle answers. As you may guess, I may say that out loud, doesn't necessarily mean that's the case, but I'm going to do my best to try and answer those. And those are around sounding scripted and not wanting to sound scripted, because that feels disingenuous, when we'll go into a little bit as to why that's not the case. And today's Unboring Your Brand podcast episode that we'll be recording is building your personal brand now, not waiting, building it now, and why scripting can help, but also what it actually means for you. Ultimately, though, I want to give people a reminder of what's happening at the Video Confidence Coach. I want to thank everyone for your patience during this week. We have, meaning me, I have started a 4-day contract with a particular client of mine, and it's only for 2 months, so I commend them and I want to thank them so hardly for giving me that opportunity. Yay! Contract as in like secured income, all that good stuff for small business owners. The workload not so much, but that's why they've hired me for 2 months. We're getting there. I'm used to having a bit more freedom, and we're going into an office 4 days a week is a new experience for me. I don't know how most of you do it. Usually I have a bit more freedom with my business, but that is okay. I want to commend you everyone and commend everyone. If I'm a little bit tired or falling over my words a bit more this morning, that is why. I'm trying my best. And yes, so my Q1 focus of the quiz is still not out because I just honestly have not had time. Not that it's not worth it and not that it's not necessary. I just have been focusing on this client stuff first and putting my clients first, which is a habit of mine, which I do. But for now, I kind of need to do it because locked in, because I sign papers. But for now, I will do my best to get the quiz out to you by Q2 at the absolute latest of 2026. You will see this in the future, Zoe. If I get this wrong, call me out on it. In regards to recent chats and convos that I've had regarding obviously what we do at the Video Confidence Coach, which is personal branding and video marketing. We've had a lot of discussion on Vic podcasters, which I will get into a moment and go through that. And we've had a couple of various conversations about podcasting, which is one of the tools that I use with my clients because I am very much a big fan of podcasting. I even, I run a community for local podcasters. And I also record podcast episodes on these live streams and run multiple podcasts and produce multiple podcasts for myself and my clients. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of podcasting stuff going on. But in regards to specific conversations that I have that aren't just client work related, because those are NDA'd, most of the conversations that I've had recently are people just honestly being tired, and I totally understand. It very much comes in waves, not just with news, world and events, but everyone, especially for the past 18 months, has been waiting for something to drop, not just in world news, but just in something. So we are waiting for like an AI bubble, preferably online, is what we're hearing about at this moment. And of course, these may be different depending on the communities and groups you are a part of. But that is one thing that a lot of people are just kind of waiting for, realizing that putting money into something that is not giving you a return on investment at all, just so you can stop paying human beings, is not an answer. Shocking. But we'll wait until that kicks in eventually. Hopefully, eventually. I'm very positive about that. You can check out our last week's live stream where we go more into how that impacts your personal brand. And yes, I did have a couple of comments saying that I was a bit more solemn and a bit sadder. I'm sorry about that. Usually I like to bring a smile, like to bring up the energy so you're ready to go, you're ready to tackle your personal brand and growth journey, all that good stuff. But last week was a little bit more sadder than I intended. So if you want to check that out, feel free to check out last week's live stream. That was about how you grow your niche. That will be in the last live stream. And speaking of live streams, I like to record. I'm using we a lot more. When it comes to my branding tone and message, I like to use me, because I'm the video confidence coach. I'm the one doing the work. I have had a lot of discussions lately, though, of using the term we, because I'm speaking with the client, like we are achieving this together. We are working together to achieve this thing. That is why I have a tendency of defaulting to we, because we are on this journey together. You are watching or listening to this with me together, achieving what we're trying to achieve. Yeah, my language is getting a bit mishy-mashy, but that is what we are here for today. When it comes to mishy-mashy language, I want to discuss with you about the most recent episode of the Unboring Your Brand podcast, episode 98. We are getting oh so close to 100. I can feel it. It is a repurpose like a business owner, where we look back on episode 30 all the way back when I repurposed the podcast. I changed the name and made some really big changes and ways on how you can do it too. So you'll find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any podcast catcher of your choice. Unboring Your Brand, grow your personal brand easily and attract ready-to-buy clients. That's the full title. It's just easier for SEO and AEO for people to actually find me and what I'm saying about. And then obviously it's just Unboring Your Brand for us in the know. If you have any questions around personal branding and video marketing that you want answered, and I can't just do it in a quick community question, feel free to reach out and I will do my best to answer that in a podcast that comes up. My rotation is usually around 2 months, because things are kind of lined up and answering people's questions in the meantime. But I'll do my best to answer them as quickly and efficiently as I possibly can. Moving on to being as efficient and as quickly as I possibly can, I want to bring your attention to the Vic podcasters. So this is the connect, collaborate, and create group of podcasters. Specifically, as you can imagine, VIC is Vic, short for Victoria, which is the state that I am on. And the Vic podcasters, I want to stress, as I've said for a couple of weeks now, that Vic Podcasters is not necessarily just for Victorian podcasters only. A lot of our news and updates will relate to that, but Vic Podcasters is the group that we've started with, and it is able to help when it comes to our grants and our money and stuff. That's where that comes in. You have to be a Victorian resident or work in Victoria for those grants to apply. Other than that, everything else is fairly universal and Australian based. because we are in Australia. But as you can imagine, a lot of the world when it comes to podcasting is very international. So we have had, looking at the feed now, and the monthly podcast is due to come out soon. When I say due to come out, as in I'm recording it this weekend and I'm going to be getting it out to you middle of this month, checking in with everything. So if you're unable to follow the groups on Facebook or on LinkedIn or join our email list, again, I'm pretty sure you've got an email, join the email list. You can check out the monthly podcast where I break down all the things and all the discussions that we've had in the groups. So of course, the upcoming event on March 20th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Australian Daylight Savings Time by that point, once we get there, is going to be Scrappy Podcasting Sprint, a live Q&A. I have got already so many topics that I want to speak about that have been brought up in the groups and the chats that people want to discuss on. Happy to delve deeper into that live stream. Of course, I will do it in a structured way, not to overwhelm you or me. Mainly me, as the person who is leading this discussion. And in that fact, we want to make sure that, we cover all our bases. So make sure you register that on Humanitics, or you can check out the links that are in the Facebook or the LinkedIn groups to go straight to that and register your interest for that webinar. Of course, and I have had a couple of people ask, yes, that will be available to view. It will be available to view for members. You just have to register your interest, because I'll send out the rewatch to people. Yeah, that's how we do it. I'll send the rewatch out to the people that registered. Even if you cannot make it on the day, you will get a link to rewatch within 2 or 3 hours, and then you can watch it for about 48 to 82 hours, and then 72 hours, and then from there I will be cutting that up into smaller pieces for the group and aspects like that. And if you is a chance that you will miss it, do not worry, just register anyway, and I'm happy to send those details to you. Right, looking at the discussions we've had in the group, we've had a lot of discussions about Apple Podcasts comments. They've always been a bit of an issue for everyone, mainly because they are anonymous and you can't delete them if they are inflammatory or just incorrect. So it's been an ongoing issue, but Apple Podcasts has been in the waters saying that they're going to make changes to that. So let me know how you feel about that, or just provide any unhinged comments you've received about your podcast so we can all laugh about them together. And there has recently been an update on the 2021 lawsuit from, I think it was, let me just look at the details. I think it was, so it's the lawsuit from December of 2021. God damn, that's a long time ago. That is against, I think it's against Sonics. Essentially, I've forgotten what particular company it is, but it's a lawsuit from I think it's the American Deaf Association, saying that, hey, transcripts need to be available for podcasts because you need to make content accessible, because that's a basic thing. And also transcripts are incredibly easy, but it makes sense as to, since 2021, they've been growing more in ease and popularity, not because it's the right thing to do to make things, to make your content accessible for people. It's because they're worried about the lawsuit that has been dragging on since 2021. I have conversations about that. All right. And then we have a couple of comments asking for recommendations and checking in on things that we have, following on discussions. Yes, awesome. So I'm going to put this away so I stop getting distracted by everyone in the group, because then I'm looking at it, seeing things I need to answer or questions I need to have. Again, if you want to join the Vic Podcasters group, it is free to join. You can join us on our email list, Facebook group, or LinkedIn address. All you have to look is VIC Podcasters, and it'll be there for you, or check out the website vcc.training/Vic-podcasters. Vic, not vid. So today we are going to go on, like I said, we're going to start off with community questions. These are rapid fire questions where I'm going to do my best to answer them quickly and succinctly so I don't waffle. As you may have guessed, I do that a lot. And then from there, we are going to get on to a podcast that I've had a lot of people inquire about why should I be focusing on my personal brand if I'm not trying to be an influencer. And that is a viable question. It's a realistic question. And I've been getting a couple of those as I've been doing trainings for community groups or for councils or interest groups regarding personal. And of course, my shtick is personal branding and video marketing, because that's where those two things meet. And I've had a lot of questions about, like, mainly because they're not exactly of their own volition. And I want to be able to answer this publicly for you in a nice podcast format. Hopefully 20 minutes, but I don't make any promises because I can waffle on for a while. But speaking of which, we are going to touch on first with Holly and her question. So we're going to cut to some ads. I'm going to give up on my hair, and we're going to then get on to community questions. But when it comes to the visual consistency of your brand, you're able to have a lot of flexibility because you've already established with your brand, with the work that you do and with the colors that you use and the font that you use, that you can then be able to make changes. And say, for example, in a post, you're able, if you're someone who's fairly colorful, and then you post something that is black and white, that is noir, that is dark, that is moody, that has harsh contrast and shadows, people are going to pay attention to that. Why? Because it's out of the norm for you. And it breaks your visual consistency so you can inform them of something incredibly important. Thank you so much, Michelle J. Raymond, for that example there. She's a good person to follow. And thank you for letting me steal your example. I'm starting to post more regularly, but I feel like I'm already repeating myself. How do I come up with content ideas that don't feel boring and feel like I'm just answering the same question over and over again? Do not worry, Holly. This is something that everyone who's building a personal brand feels often. It feels like you're repeating yourself so often. But the reason why is because your audience needs to hear from you, and they need to hear the solution to their problems, and they need to hear it more than once, because algorithms do not always put you in front of the right people. Your message, the way that you're presenting your message may not always land. The words that you're using may not get picked up via like search engine optimization or artificial intelligence optimization. Like, the way that you present the solution to their problem needs to be done thousands of ways for things to be picked up. Not necessarily to go viral, mind you, but just to be heard and understood by your audience. And yes, it may feel like you're repeating yourself because you are the one doing the work and saying the things over and over again. But for your audience, that is not the case. Maybe for your diehard super fans, they will definitely hear the same messages again, but that's okay. The message is not for their super fans. It's for your people that you're wanting to get on board, the people that are eventually going to become paid clients of yours. So when it comes to repeating yourself, if you said the same words over and over again, maybe try thinking of different words that mean the same thing. Maybe when it comes to your message, try breaking it down into different aspects, because maybe you're trying to push too much information into one video. Spread it out. Give yourself a bit of a breather and try to take things slow. Not just for them, but also for you. And third is you check out their social medias. Of course, on your preferred platform of choice. And a lot of people, and this is anecdotal now, not study-wise, is people check when was the last time you posted. And say, for example, when it comes to my business, I am not exactly an arbiter when it comes to posting consistently. I do try my best, but sometimes there's like months where I'm just like, social media is not a priority for me. I'm going to focus on my website. I'm going to focus on my email list. Social media, I'll get to it when I get to it. It's okay. But when it comes to yourself and you've got the capacity, especially if you're focusing on one platform, to have that consistency for yourself, to have the same post, same message, same description across all your... I'm not trying to become famous. I'm just trying to get clients. What should I post if I want results and not just posting every day for the sake of it? Well, Ben, I have got the answer for you. Essentially, it's understandable when you see out there it's a very vocal minority of people who are these influencer type of people who are trying to get you to buy a product or a service. But when it sounds like what you're coming from, you're not trying to be famous, you're trying to get clients. You are a business owner, you are a personal brand builder, you are someone who is trying to, get food on the table for yourself and your family. So when it comes to getting results, it's very key to know who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, and what solution are you providing to them. Knowing these three key factors is going to help you then be able to hit the mark every single time. You don't have to post every day. You post as easily and as consistently as you can, making sure that you repeat the same message and repeat the same important factors that people need to hear and people need to know to help them either know more about you, sign up to your email list, go to your website. Ultimately, you're not going to do that every single time. You're not going to say, here is, 30 seconds of something and then go straight to my website. You're going to give value, but in smaller chunks. So then you're posting consistently and regularly without burning yourself out or burning your audience who you're trying to build out as well. You've got this, Ben. I totally believe in you. The other thing that you need to have before going into a networking event is an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is a short, sharp description of the work that you do for clients. Wow, that was quick. Well, look at me. So that was the community questions. Like I said, I'm trying to keep them nice, concise, and consistent. Let me know if I'm using people's names too much. The names, of course, aren't real names. I want to make it very clear that I do my best not to give away people's actual names. I do fake names. But when it comes to answering questions like that, it helps to have a name. And also, if it's a common enough name, then people actually stop because they realize, oh, you're talking to me. Now I want to move on to my unboring your brand, podcast episode. And I'm realizing now that we're actually moving quite fast. It is only 20 past 10 and I'm actually on time. A stress when it comes to client work, when it comes to things that I'm being paid to do, that a service I'm being employed for, I am on time. I'm usually early, to be perfectly honest. But when it comes to my live streams and my marketing endeavors, I'm actually on time and it feels a bit weird. So thank you for joining us on the Camera Ready Confessions. And I have had a couple people notice throughout social media and a couple of ads that I've been posting on various places that I say, I confess. That is very dramatic, but it's a thing to grab people's attention. And it's the fun gimmick that I've been using to put in between some of these interstitials on my live stream, the Camera Ready Confessions. So I confess. So if you're seeing that around, don't worry. I'm not going full Shakespeare and dramatic for you. It's just an interesting thing that I find fun to have a bit of that hook or a gimmick that also shows me when I'm editing, oh, this is what it's for. I do these things for you too. I want to stress, I do these things for you too. It's just helpful for me when I'm doing the process. And yes, I have had a couple of questions from new followers of mine. Hello, welcome to the crew. Welcome to Camera Ready Club. We are all here for our confessions every week. The makeup that I do, honestly, is just a bit of fun, have a bit of color, pop out a bit. Maybe for me, practicing a little bit of my makeup ability. I like to wear bright colors. Blue is definitely my business thing. Blue hair, blue attire, bright makeup, because it's fun. I do get a lot of people that see my face and they smile. Even people who do not recognize me or know me, they go, oh, this is fun. I'm like, yeah, because hopefully it should be fun. Life should be fun because this is boring if it isn't. And for all the grey men in suits that I see at networking events who are scared of this, I'm coming for you. No, I kid. I'm not entirely coming for you, even though I am a little bit. Because you need colour in your life. You need fun. You need whimsy. Yes, you're a lawyer. Yes, you're a banker. Yes, you work in insurance. You need a bit of fun and laughter. That's why I have a nice small cohort that come to me at networking events, because they see that I am fun. And if you don't, that is also okay. You do not need to have fun in your life. You can say no to joy. It'll just be very sad for you. So let's move on to today's podcasting episode. We'll see how we go time-wise, because again, we are really early, so I might have an ability to sneak in another episode that I might have to go looking for in a sec. But for now, let's focus on the podcast episode at hand about building a personal brand now. Like now. Again, I'm not denying any of these responses to my questions, but I'm asking for you, in all of the work that you're doing, the amount of time and energy and, money that you're putting into getting posts created and generated and putting into these feeds for these social media giants, just to have them be gobbled up and be seen by like 3, 4, 5 people. Personal branding used to feel like a luxury, but now it's part of how I stay visible, get picked, and how I keep earning in a messy job market. And that's the same for you too, whether you admit it or not. And welcome to the Unboring Your Brand podcast with me, your host, Zoë Wood, the video confidence coach. I'm going to edit this bit out and then I'll go straight to the intro. And yes, this is why your personal brand matters. Thank you so much to Priya for asking this question. The question specifically, in fewer words, is why should I focus on my personal brand if I'm not trying to be an influencer? Don't worry, Priya, I feel ya. And when it comes to what we see online, and especially the loudest voices from the smallest amount of people, influencers, it makes sense because that's what we see on specifically social media, but also just in aspects of the online space, because it is their job to be noticed in the online space. You can see the dichotomy of that, right? You can see that it's a little bit of like, there's being seen and being the loudest because it's their job to be seen and be the loudest. Welcome to the internet. But for yourself and building a personal brand, you don't want to be an influencer. You may not, or maybe you do, or maybe you want to include aspects of influencing into the work that you do, but not have that be your entire persona, entire career. Because for a lot of people that I work with, all the people that I do, and if you are not one of them, please check out my website, vcc.training, to become one of those people. Most of the people that I work with are small business owners, are medium to large business owners, or people who want to build their personal brand to lead their staff, to lead their audience, to lead their clients, they're building their personal brand to not just help them, but to help the people that they're there to serve. And influencing, you as an influencer, you are inherently someone who is, yes, leading and influencing people, but you're leading them and influencing them to buy. You're leading and influencing them to purchase something that you have not made. Now, as you can see in the past, I would say 3 or 4 years, there's been a very big swing for a lot of these influencers who have established on selling you things that they've been sponsored by, they've been paid to or brought to you by. They are now pivoting to their own merch, their own apps, their own content, their own things that they're providing. The reason for that is because you have more control over the things that you sell if you are in charge of them. So if you are an influencer, welcome into the fray. If you are not, that is also welcome into the fray, because we are here to build our personal brands through the power of video, because we are on Unboring Your Brand podcast episode. Yay! So let's continue with today's episode by let's naming the baggage, the old carpet bag in the room, which is that personal branding, in quotes, used to sound salesy, shallow, and as if it was like for scammers. What I mean by that is that previous to, I want to say realistically, 2010, 2012, of course, this is my own bias, this could totally not be the case for you, this could be a lot more recent for you, is that personal branding used to be a thing that con men would do, which a lot of people don't want to really be associated with, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't want to be a con man or a scammer. And for you, and possibly the world that you live in, the reason that hopefully you're joining this podcast today, is that the world has since then shifted. We've now shifted to an era where you're not guaranteed a job and you can't just quietly work your way up the ladder. Like, to be honest, I don't even know if that's true, but the cultural zeitgeist makes it believe that that was the past, that it was true. The reason I say that is I talk to a lot of people that are older than me and they believe, yeah, the job market's never really been stable. It's almost like capitalism doesn't really exist, truly. We have other things to discuss, Zoe. But when it comes to your personal brand, it's no longer a shifty con men thing that you need to do. Your personal brand is something that you put out there into the world. And just because you may not actively use it or be actively aware of it does not mean you don't have a personal brand. Your personal brand and your reputation are very similar. They're not the same thing. And maybe in some of the podcasts I may have said that they're the same thing, but they are very, very closely related. They're like sisters, not cousins, if we get the gist there. And your personal brand is not a logo that you go under, or it's not even your name that you may go under. It's how you show up professionally, even if you've never posted online. Now, of course, a lot of the work that I do is very online based because that's where everyone else is. Therefore, we work, and video marketing has a tendency of working predominantly in the digital space. And in those moments where it's not, it is a very big outlier. So when it comes to your personal brand and what is in your control, and also because reputation is, like I said, sister, not cousin, your reputation is what other people say when you're not in the room. I'll say that again. Personal branding is what you control, while reputation is what people say when you're not in the room. So having that understanding of yourself, your personal brand is something you can do something about. You can not just change the way that you look, or maybe the way that you sound, or the way that you present yourself, or the messages, or the topics that you're talking about. You have control over who you help and why you help them. More than any reputation that is out there in the zeitgeist. And reputation can be helped and be bolstered by a personal brand. It can also be tarnished and ruined by a personal brand. There is also plenty of things that can ruin there are also plenty of things that can ruin a reputation that you don't have full control over either. And in the zeitgeist, we can figure out why. I think we both know who we're talking about. The two big reasons personal branding matters right now, like when you are listening to this, either as I post this or if you're watching much later on after I post this, because podcasts are always relevant, these are the things that matter now. Your personal brand matters because it changes the outcomes for real people. And it works in a world that is always moving fast. The thing that is fairly constant in this world is you. And I know that may seem a bit weird. And of course, what I mean by that is that we do change. We do grow. We do evolve in our life. But your personal brand is also growing and evolving with you. You can see my podcast about evolving your personal brand as it grows with you in another podcast episode. And when it comes to being able to stand out in a job market, in a speaker roster, in a collection of people, and arguably a collection of personal brands, you need to be able to have that stand out, not just for you, but have your reputation precede you, even in situations where you don't have full control over that reputation. Because again, they're sisters, not the same thing. And with the cost-cutting measures covering every single industry and AI being rammed up our throats, down, up, being punched in multiple different ways, it means that work is going to go to contractors and specialists and not entry-level roles or full-time hires, which I don't personally love. I for those who aren't in the know, I regularly mentor about 2 to 3 classes worth of kids every year. So there are a lot of TAFEs around the Geelong and Wadawurrung region. And they all have either a subject or an element, I forgot what it's technically called, where they do entrepreneurship. And I I and a collection of other mentors come in to help mentor them through their process. Now, a lot of these kids aren't really interested in building a business. They aren't interested in being entrepreneurs. That is fine. It is personal development and growth because you are a child. And as I do this, I see them work really hard and I see them do their best, and going into a world where there aren't entry-level roles, where there aren't full-time higher positions, and if there are, they don't exist for long, or they're just fake jobs, or I probably won't try and spiral down too hard down the job market woes that I have for my students, my family, my mentees, my community. Let's spiral ourselves back up, Zoe. But as this world, as we are, capitalism's going to capitalism, the cost-cutting measures are going to continue to push in whatever industry you are in. No matter what there's going to be, yes, there may be more industries flourishing more than others, but they are still going to move to more contractors and specialists being hired in per project. There's going to be very few options out there for, say, full-time or entry-level roles that when you need to achieve something or achieve a goal, instead of going to be trained, you are going to bring in a specialist and a contractor who's going to help you achieve that. That is just, yes, that is a prediction of mine, but that is something that's fairly sound in no matter what industry you're in. And if you want to be picked, if you want to be seen as that leader in the space, as that someone who is being hired for not just their knowledge, but their experience and their expertise, you need to be remembered. And to be remembered, you need to be not just qualified on paper. You need to have a reputation that precedes you, and you need to have a brand that you can control that shows people that you know what you're talking about, you have the experience to back it up, and your values align with whoever is going to hire you. And they need to know that ahead of time. Because being standout in your field and being picked as one of these choices, it means that you have to have a personal brand of some kind. It doesn't have to be something that you work months on. It can just be something that you spend 10 to 15 minutes on. You write it in something, you put it out there into the world, and you make it clear what you stand for, who you stand for, and what the solutions that you're providing. Not necessarily in a business sense, but just in a life sense. And in the authority that you build over time, as you gain more experience in an industry, if you are someone who does not have experience in an industry, I'm going to tell you now, you have experience in some way. Everything can be moved to show that you have experience in whatever you're doing. You have lived on this life you've lived on this planet more than a day. And for those who are listening, who are less than a day old, I commend you. You need a little bit more time. Get a bit more experience. But for everyone else, you have lived experience that you can use in your personal branding that builds your reputation. Your authority is built on proof and consistency, and not just posting more and not just being seen more. It is about proof and consistency. Your personal brand is about proof and consistency. So, and the simplest, so I had to repeat that for myself and the back. Yes, I'm running. Thank you. My watch is telling me that I'm running too fast. And the simplest strategy for this, for your personal brand, and even if you are listening to this and are still not convinced, or Priya, if you are listening to this and you're like, Zoe, this sounds like being an influencer. I don't really want to do this. This is so much work. This is effort. Ugh. The simplest way to not even just build your personal brand, but to be seen in the marketplace of jobs. The simplest strategy is repetition. Keep showing up with the same clear truths, the same clear values, and the same clear messages until people can repeat it back to you. And this works in the job market. This works in networking. This works in referring business. This works for my business owners. This works for my personal brand builders. This works for students. This works for teachers. Repetition is key. Because if you keep showing up, people are going to remember you, and more importantly, people are going to be able to repeat that message back to you, and they're also going to be able to repeat it to other people who then in turn are going to learn more about you. Because these people are your customers, people who are going to, or your clients, people who are going to pay you money for your knowledge and experience. And if they can repeat your thing, not just, hey, this is their website, or I think she was called the video conference coach. Yeah, she sounds about right. And then they Google you, and I pop up. Oh yeah, Zoe, she's the right one. Awesome. Personal brand has preceded me, reputation has preceded me, job is done. For yourself, now of course I'm using myself as an example there, and I've worked very hard on this for a couple of decades. For you, you may just be starting out and feel a little bit disheartened. I don't want you to worry. This is something that takes a little bit of time, but now that you're aware, you can continue to do this. You can continue repetition. You can understand your values and your truth and your knowledge and your message, and you can keep going. Not because you have to, but because you need to. I didn't say that too confidently there, but you kind of need to. Your personal brand isn't magic. It won't work in every situation, but that's normal. I'm not saying that everything that I am touting here today is going to magically fix every single problem that you have. But think of a personal brand as an asset in your toolkit that is a useful tool, but it's not your whole personality. It is something that you can get out when needed and put it back when you don't need it. And when you are trying to get a job, or you're trying to maybe keep a current job, or maybe you are in a situation where you're cyclical, so you're always going to have the job, but it's kind of not there, kind of is there, or maybe you're just looking for better things. If you are someone in the job market, or someone like myself who's just making your own jobs. Keeping your personal and professional separate, if it feels safer and more sustainable, is the way to go. You can be warm without oversharing everything about your personal life. You can build your personal brand without being entirely personal. And you can check out my podcast episode about that if you're still a bit confused as to the difference between personal and personal brand. I definitely check that out and separate those two in a nice clear format that I can't do today because we're running out of time. If you've been playing small because visibility or being seen feels scary, and I understand, wanting to be small and be paper thin so then no one can hurt you, but also no one can see you, is tough. But if you want to be remembered so that you can progress not just your career but also your life, to be able to achieve the life goals that you want to achieve, we need money to do so. And it can feel scary, but the fix is gentle action. And it's not a personality transplant. You can't magically become a thespian overnight. But keeping that reputation in play is going to help you build up that confidence over time. Because confidence is just practice. And it's simple. When an opportunity comes up, you're the name that people think of first. And to do that, you need to be seen, and you need to be seen often. Personal branding can feel like a luxury, but now it's part of being stayed employable and also memorable. You already have a personal brand. The choice is whether you shape it to its purpose or just let it linger in the wind. I mean, you can do that. It's entirely your choice. Or you can just leave it in a corner until you're absolutely ready for it. And then come back to this podcast. And I'll get you to dust that off again. Your brand is how you show up professionally. And your reputation is what others decide for you. You can control how you show up professionally. Your reputation is something else. But hopefully the way that you show up professionally and help people and serve people that you want to serve means that your reputation is good. Proof and consistency beats random posting and just avoiding the truth. Repeating your core message is what builds that trust recognition as well as consistency for yourself. Ultimately, treat your personal brand like an asset and not just an entire identity. Because it should work for you, not against you, hopefully. If you have been tickled, I was going to say if I've tickled your pickle, which is not right because your brain is not a pickle. If I've tickled your brain, feel free to check out these other episodes from the Unboring Your Brand podcast, episode 72, Pivot Proof Your Personal Branding, and episode 47, Your Strong Personal Branding Playbook, which are the aspects I mentioned before about your pivot proof personal branding is about why your personal branding matters when work identity shifts happen, and why the 47 for strong personal brand playbook is why I love alliterations, don't I? I love alliterations, but then I actually have to say them out loud. I'm like, oh no. So episode 47 is my practical building blocks for personal brand that feels clear and intentional. And in those episodes, you will also find the difference between reputation and podcasting. So reputation and personal branding. I say that a lot. But if you are washing the dishes, if you are driving a car, if you are listening to this as you are doing something else, what I would love you to do when you have the opportunity to take a breath, take a breather, think for a second, take some pen and paper, because this helps you and your mind remember, and think of a be remembered sentence. I help people. So the sentence essentially, so I'll give you a formula so you can write this down so you can help make it easier for you. So I help people do something. I am known for this topic. I help do I am known for. An example I have is there, for me, I help values-led founders explain complex ideas simply. I am known for calm, practical marketing. That may not be true, Zoe, but that is what I'm going to leave with you today, so you can do this for yourself. Oh, I can lie my ass off. I'm not exactly that calm and succinct, but I do my best to try and help you there as we are here in the moment. For my call to action for you is make sure that if I have tickled your brain pickle at all today, make sure you join me for a disco chat on my website. Again, the link will be in the description below. So if you are someone who wants to take that next step for your personal branding and video, make sure you check me out on that and join, and we'll have a chat on my website. Last thing I would love to leave you with is if this podcast episode has helped you at all today, make sure that you hit subscribe or follow so you don't miss the next one, which will be out next week. Same time, same place. I know. Very, very surprising. And if you are feeling generous, because hopefully you are by spending a bit of time with me, please give us a 5-star rating or a quick review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Well, you can't really do or. You kind of 5-star and a review, because that would help us more than you would know. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. I'll see you next week. Example. I'd say realistically, all of the clients that I have now are people that I have either met at networking events, were introduced to me at networking events, or I attended a networking event as a guest and they were already at the networking event and they remembered me to the point where I'm working with them 5 years later. I'm gonna say that for a fact, that most of the people that I network with that are my clients now, so most of the clients that I have now, I have acquired through networking. Thank you for joining us for today for the Camera Ready Confessions. We have got 10 minutes left of today's. So I was able to do a chat for a bit there, surprisingly enough. I thought, I'm really early. No, you're not, Zoe. You can waffle on for forever. And I want to thank everyone who has joined us today in the live stream, or you've checked us on the hashtag Replay Squad. Make sure that you can comment your questions, thoughts, and ideas for topics in the description, and I will do my best to answer them without missing a beat. I do my best to always answer people's questions. If you have missed any part of today's stream, you can watch or listen the whole live stream on the platform that you are watching us now on. Or you can check out the live stream episode show notes where I've got a full rundown of everything we've discussed, because I am a thorough bitch. You can find it at vcc.training/camera ready. So, let me do that again. vcc.training/camera-ready-confessions, and you can find these details there. I am stumbling over my words because we are nearing the end and I am already losing it. But next week we have episode 38 of the live stream, Messy Video Equals Genuine Brand. Yes, this is a topic that, in the world of AI and everything being polished to an inch of its life, or just looking it's out of a sci-fi dystopian novel, it can feel slightly awkward, and having not quite right videos may feel like actually helps you stand out as being human and not just another AI that people immediately turn themselves off to. So that is how video can equal a genuine brand. And we go through methods on how to actually achieve that for yourself, as well as breaking down my usual community questions and some Unboring Your Brand podcast episodes. Knowing me at the moment is probably just one episode, because I can waffle on for forever. So as we finish off today, and I have a couple more minutes to fill in, I could probably do a couple more community questions. I do have to dig them out though, because I put them somewhere, and I've been trying to make sure that I answer people's questions throughout the stream. But I want to thank everyone for being patient with the Video Confidence Coach, me, over these past couple of weeks as we've gotten started with our contract, because for all me, small business brand people, or my marketing people, or my small business people, when you get a contract that is, that good for like 2 months, thank you for your patience. I just don't have as much, honestly, energy or the bandwidth to be able to take on new projects. However, in the next little bit, I will be joining a fellow podcaster and recording a couple of episodes with them. So that's going to be interesting. I'll let you know when that comes out. Honestly, yeah. But in the meantime, I want to thank everyone for being patient. If I have missed any of your messages, any of your emails, any of your methods to reach out to me, please do try again. I apologize if I've missed any of your messages, because I want to make sure that I'm on top of everything. I've got a fairly robust system that notifies me and tells me when things are missing. Doesn't mean it works all the time, or at all sometimes. But I want to thank you for doing so and joining me on today's live stream. Confess your camera sins next week. Same time, same place.